perfect example, right? We went to Denver to Rod Khleif's event to do some 3-day training there and kind of check some things out. And while we were there, we met two guys, Jeff and Jawan, who are now one of our co-GP partners. They've helped us raise millions of dollars. They've joined us on a bunch of deals.
Great guys.
Jawan's been on the podcast. And so that wouldn't have happened if we didn't get our ass out of our seat here in LA and get on a plane and go to an event. So I think sometimes you got to just put yourself in the right room, bring your guard down, and you might be surprised at what you find.
Yeah, you got to bring your...
All right, we're back for another episode of the High Stakes Deals podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Locascio, and today we've got Clooney back in the studio with us.
Thank you.
He was out for a little bit. I think we were both out for a little bit, and I did the shoot last week with Gabe, and by the way, that was a good one.
That was that good? Even if I wasn't there, it was still good.
It made it a lot better. It's crazy. You know, I don't know what happened. There's something that was different about that episode.
I'm going to get a text or a call. Greg, listen, about the podcast,
Oh, man.
But yeah.
No, it feels good to be back in the studio, though, right?
It does. It feels really good. What have you been doing? I mean, I it's been a whirlwind for some reason. The last couple of weeks. I think
it's more what have we been doing? I mean, shit, it seems like we've been running around selling houses, closing apartment buildings. Yeah. We got new deals we're putting together for marketing and talking about seminars and all kinds of stuff that will be, dropping in the coming months here. But I mean, listen, I know that was semi-rhetorical, but shit, it's been busy. You know, it's like...
well, that's what I was kind of getting at. It's like, the last couple of years, they've been a little... I don't know, the real estate market per se has just been a little slow and a little, drudgery. And all of a sudden, we stopped listening to the noise. Yeah. And we've gotten busy.
See, I don't ever listen to the noise, but maybe you were listening to the noise.
Listen, you do or you don't. I feel like there's been an uptick in our activity because we... Not even listening to the noise, but not listening to the doom.
I mean specifically because I feel like we're always busy with our investments. That has not slowed down at all in 2 years.
Right.
But I know what you're saying. You're saying on our brokerage business, where we list and sell properties for clients, it was a little wonky there for a second because of the high interest rates and some different things going on. But no, I agree. Listen, I mean, the Fed has dropped the rates, twice now? Am I wrong?
Once now. Just once.
I'm thinking happy thoughts. The second one's coming,
But they've already indicated they're going to drop them another 2 or 3 times this year.
Yeah. So, and look, I know for those of you that are watching that are very technical lender type people, of course, we know that just because the Fed drops the funds rate, that doesn't directly correlate to the mortgage rates. However, the 10-year treasuries, from what I understand, which do affect mortgage rates, typically have a lot to do with the forward-looking sentiment on the market and on rates in the economy. And so nonetheless, it seems like because the Fed is now starting to drop rates, I think we're going to see a lot of things kind of fall in place.
I mean, I think people are starting, the thaw is happening, and I think people are going to start moving around and realizing that we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
And that's all you need, a little positive consumer sentiment to change things. And I think that's kind of what's happening. But we've also I think we've put our nose to the grindstone and let's just do deals.
How do you manage, multiple companies, different workloads? What do you personally do to keep everything?
List.
List. Old school, baby. You go right on the piece of paper or what? Or you put a list?
Yeah. I mean, literally. I mean, list. I can't operate without having a list because then you just check it off. Yeah. I'm constantly updating my list.
Do you put me time on the list?
Yeah,
grab a Jack and Coke.
That one is still no. Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, come on, Brandon. I do lists. I don't. You operate on a different level, and you keep things in your head and you organize.
Really do. Yeah.
But I think one good thing that we do is we try and knock things off the list.
Yeah.
Jesus, I mean, if you kept adding and didn't start, deleting, it would just be a crazy time. But yeah, I think lists, and I know you keep it a different way.
I think too, if you look at where we are today is October 3rd, right? And basically since summer has ended and we've started inching into fall, a lot of what I've been thinking about, and I think our team is starting to think about, is what do we need to get done for 2026?
Yeah.
And this is kind of important. If you guys have a company, a business, sales pipeline, whatever you're doing, it's really easy to still be caught in 2025 because we've got a quarter to go. We want to hit the numbers for 2025 and finish strong. But I think it's even more important to start thinking about what you're going to do next year.
Yeah.
Because if you think you're going to wait till Christmas or the first or second week of January, come over, hungover from all that eggnog and whatever, and start planning your business, you're going to be behind everybody else. And so I think something that's kind of helped us and our companies and our partners in the last few years is we start planning our next year in the fall, certainly in the winter, but in this ending Q3, Q4, we start really thinking about what are we going to do next year. Perfect example. We had a meeting this week with our controller in our office, whiteboarded everything out. Here's the properties that we own right now that we're flipping. Here's all our multifamily buildings. Here's the multifamily deal we're closing in 2 weeks. We're talking about launching a crypto fund. We're talking about doing a whole bunch of seminars next year and big events to drive a lot of traffic to our brand and to raise capital, and starting a mentor program, coaching. So there's a lot going on, but we're working on those things now. We're trying to really kind of stress test the ideas to say, okay, we've got 5 or 6 new things we want to introduce next year. We want to put a lot more momentum behind the things we're already doing.
Right.
What are the moves we have to make now and over the next couple months during the holidays so that January 1st comes and we're not, again, dicking around going, what do we want to do this year? We already know the plan and we're just fucking flying on that thing.
Well, I have something to say about what you just said, but I just want to let everybody know I have a little cough, so if my voice sounds
Don't
a little
judge Greg.
raspy.
If you're watching this, please leave a message and make fun of the voice. I just want to see the hate comments.
Anyways. But what you said was, all these things going on. But listen, there is one reason why all this is really going on. And this is where I have to give Brandon, props, because, I have lists to keep organized, but you get lost in the minutia too. You get lost in the list and things and the tasks. But if you don't have a guy, thinking about growth, I was just like, of course you have to think about growth to grow. Otherwise you're just staying still. And that's not a great place. I mean, we're not all capable of doing that, but anyways, props to Brandon. Brandon keeps the growth and the pedal to the metal. And it's good to have that because we have a good team. Everybody adds to the team, and those are.
Well, listen, I appreciate that, and we're all a team, like you said. I think when you have partners in a business like Greg and I do, we have a couple other partners, Kevin and Chuck, in our primary business, and some other partners in some of the other stuff we're doing. But everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and it's good that people can bounce things off each other. Some people are inherently more organized, and they're going to be more hyper focused on accounting and operations and HR. Others are more thinking about growth and marketing and, adding to the top line. And so it's nice to kind of mix that all together. But I'll tell you, my whole thing is like, I used to, years ago when I was starting out in business, I had that lizard brain, right? Like a lot of people get. It's very natural. It's a human instinct. It's like, how am I going to pay my bills next month? Or shit, we've got this scary thing coming up, a lawsuit in your business, or just something happening that's not going right. And you have a tendency just to think, I need to go into preservation mode. I need to protect what I have. I need to freeze up. I need to play defense. I need to just chill for a minute. It could be a realtor, right? Looking at the market. Like you said, maybe sales aren't going well. And they're like, I can't spend that marketing money because I'm trying to preserve the money I have. Yeah. But I've learned over the last, almost 20 years, right? I'm 38. I was going to say almost 40. I'm definitely not almost 40.
That. You're way old.
But now I've been in business for myself for 20 years, basically right out of high school. And, I've learned over time that the better way to handle it, at least in my opinion, is to turn that lizard side of your brain off, because it will kick in. You'll have the oh shit moment when some stuff gets stressful, but turn it off and remember that if you bring in new business, if you bring in new clients, if you grow certain things, you're going to be able to deal with the stressful stuff anyway. It's almost like the rising tides lifts all boats.
You almost get better at it.
Yeah, so it's like when I have a week where all the shit's not going the way we want it, I'm like, okay, cool. This stuff's going to be shitty right now, whether I hyper focus on it for 10 hours or not. Yeah. So I'm going to spend 1 hour on it and hopefully, defer some things to the team to get worked out. And I'm going to go find 10 new deals, or I'm going to go find a new property to buy, or I'm going to think about a new business idea. And that's what really gets my brain refocused, because it's hard. If you're not careful, you'll fall down that rabbit hole of just being stuck in this pain in the ass. And
I mean, you operate differently, and that's a really good quality, because I can tell you, I'm doing my task list every day, and things happen and stuff. But man, if you're not thinking about growth or thinking about that, creates a real another level for the company, for people around you, that synergy that we're growing. I mean, not all ideas are perfect, but man, I'd rather look at 5 ideas and maybe 3 of them crash and 2 of them work, rather than just one new idea. I don't know. It's really a positive thing, is what I'm saying, and it helps keep the team energized.
So, I mean, let's unpack a couple of these things, right? So we started flipping, we've been buying multifamily properties for the last handful of years.
Right.
That's our core business. We're on the road to 1,000 units. We used to, actually, I'll show you guys this hat. So this is one of our BCGK hats. We're getting some new gear, by the way. We'll be putting it up. But it's got you can't really see here, but it has a 100 right under the BCGK. You can kind of see. But we made these hats when I think at the time we owned maybe 20 units or something. And it was our way of kind of reminding ourselves every day we wore the hat, we got to get to 100 doors. Yep. Now we're over that. So now we're going to get new hats made and we're going to put 1,000 on there or something just to kind of, and then hopefully someday we'll have the problem going bigger. But that's always been our core business. But in the last year, we introduced doing some flips. We had done some many years ago, but we introduced it here at BCGK. We're on to our 3rd flip right now. I guess 3rd and 4th. We've got 2 on the market right now. We sold 2 a couple months ago. And it's nice because that's given our, team sort of an extra revenue driver, right? So now while we're working on the apartments and those are slowly building up, we've got some of the turn and burn quick deals that we can do here. A lot of stuff in SoCal, LA. And it's been a nice little bubusiness model.
Open house tomorrow, 11
Greg's going to do an open house. By the way, where are you going to be tomorrow? I mean, by the time this comes out, it'll be
11919
Mayfield.
Mayfield
number
Avenue.
2, Brentwood. Yeah. By the time this comes out, the open house will be over. But check us out because it's a great property. 11919 Mayfield, number 2 in Los Angeles or Brentwood. Anyway, just finished it. Amazing property on the market for $1,545,000. But yeah, so just to finish my point, we've started introducing some of these new ideas. And back to what I was saying a minute ago, past couple of weeks, we've been talking about a crypto fund, some seminars. And just kind of let's unpack that for a second. Let's talk about the crypto fund first. Why is that exciting?
Jesus,
why are we thinking about doing
tech
it?
Savvy. I just bought some crypto the other day.
Yeah.
But
what'd you buy?
XRP.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about that.
Listen, it's a crypto like Bitcoin, but it's at $3 a share and it's supposed to go and go, but whatever, it's speculative. But but crypto is becoming more mainstream. I guess that's the biggest thing. Well, with the Trump administration and he wanting to formalize crypto as more.
If you look at everything do you remember just a few years ago, none of the banks wanted anything to do with crypto.
Right.
They were all anti, BlackRock, none of the big hedge funds wanted anything to do with crypto. The administration was still not really sure. Now, like you said, the new administration's all for it. I think Don Jr. and Eric just launched some huge crypto company. Yeah. All the banks are getting behind crypto. And I'm in the same boat. I've never really paid attention to it because we're real estate guys. But, specifically what happened was we had a friend of ours on this podcast. His name is Keith Berry. Shout out to Keith. He's a professional fighter, and I've known him for a very long time. His nickname used to always be the KO Kid, the knockout kid, right? But he got involved in NFTs in the crypto world a couple years back. Yeah. And so now he goes by the NFT Kid. Wow. And so Keith just fought a couple of days ago in Singapore, won his fight. Nice. Kicked the shit out of the guy in the first round, by the way, knocked him out. Wow. And he's flying back now, but he reached out to Greg and I a week and a half ago and said, hey, thanks for having me on the podcast, blah, blah, blah. I really want to see if we can put together some blended fund with crypto and real estate. Yeah. And so when I got the message, I was like, dude, we got to give this a look. Cause like you said, it's the hottest thing, right? And so what we're looking at doing is sort of like a case study, a test, put our feet in the water a little bit as far as crypto. We're looking at doing a fund with Keith where we would open it up to a limited amount of people for the purpose of being able to use your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, XRP, and roll it into this fund. And then the fund would do a combination of real estate and crypto. So we would say we raise $5 million for the fund. We'll go out and buy $3 or $4 million worth of multifamily real estate, which we obviously have a strong grasp on. And then we'll take maybe $1 million of the money from the fund and we'll dump it into Bitcoin, Ethereum. We'll do some blended return and we'll,
Because you're saying that makes perfect sense. I love that idea. You're saying keeping a mix in that fund because people actually use crypto to get into the fund.
Yeah. And think about it like this. It's like somebody saying, hey, I've got a bunch of Bitcoin right now and I like real estate, but I don't know how to get started. Yeah. They can put 50,000 of their Bitcoin into our fund. And then effectively, 30,000 or 40,000 of that Bitcoin will go into a hard asset into real estate that they haven't owned yet. And then part of it will stay in that Bitcoin. So then the bottom line is, while we're executing our 3, 4, 5-year plan on that real estate to get that to go, up.
They're still experiencing.
They still have the hedge, and our fund would have the hedge of what's happening with the crypto. So it's a really cool idea. We've already talked to our attorneys. We're getting ready to roll it out probably later this year. But again, just one example of something new we've been playing around with. And I think there's going to be, some legs on that one.
That's where I came up with that opinion a few months ago. I think there are legs to this thing, and everybody's waiting. Well, you can't wait forever to get in, and I think it's coming more and more mainstream.
So let's talk. We got a few things we want to jump into in a second here. We're gonna do some myth busting for multifamily real estate, a little lightning round. We're gonna test Greg to see what he knows about some things. But before we get in there, I want to talk about the other meeting we had this week. So Thomas Larini, another person we had on the podcast. See, people ask me, why do you do your podcast? Well, one is that hopefully over time we get a nice following, and people like you guys that tune in learn something about real estate, maybe end up investing with us in some of our deals. But we also do it because it brings people in our circle and outer circle kind of back into focus. Even people we've known for years that we haven't talked to in a while come on the show, and next thing you know, they're calling us up or we're calling them up, and we're doing business, deals together, talking about launching new ventures.
Hey, Brandon,
so it's really been a cool thing, actually.
There's a slogan to that: high stakes meetings equal high stakes deals.
Let's go.
I like that. Brandon put that on his post the other day. I really like that. High stakes deals.
So Thomas Larini, broker investor, he came on the podcast a while back, a handful of months back. And he also called me about a week ago and said, hey, I want to talk to you guys about some exciting stuff we're doing in the event space. Now, if you guys know, Greg and I have been wanting to get involved in doing, hosting our own events here in Los Angeles, for the purpose of like real estate type meetup, business events, bring people together and talk about, marketing and growing their business in real estate. And anyway, Thomas reached out and he was like, hey, let's get together. So Greg and I met with him yesterday, and it was really, really kind of eye-opening. So Thomas has been, for the past couple years, flying around the country and Canada, where he's originally from, and he's been putting on these seminars, 3-day boot camps, boots on the ground where they go tour properties, all kinds of these like real estate related events. And they bring people in to talk about wholesaling, new construction, land flipping houses, multifamily, of course. And so he, basically approached Greg and I, and he said, look, BCGK is starting to get a following. You guys have your podcast. You guys are raising millions of dollars from investors and doing all these big deals. He's like, I know you guys want to be in the event space. I know you want to start doing coaching and mentorship and all kinds of things, but why would you start it from scratch if maybe you guys can join Wealth Genius, which is his company and his business partner's company, and kind of step right into throwing these events and already have a whole back-end infrastructure. And so anyway, we'll be announcing more to come. But we are looking at doing hosting our first 3-day real estate boot camp here in Los Angeles, the first part of next year. So sometime in January, we'll be dropping the dates at some point. But any of you guys that are interested in real estate, business, networking, no matter what type of the business it is, maybe even you're just a vendor. You could be a lender, a lawyer, somebody that wants to actually get in front of these people that are doing these things. It might be a good reason for you guys to turn out and come join us at the event. Yeah,
that's what Thomas said. Thomas said a lot of some of the folks are just like kind of general or partners. They're an attorney, a legal real estate attorney. They're like you said, a lender, and they become preferred partners, and they benefit from that. They have the whole group that they can access and stuff. So there's a lot of different angles. But Brandon's right. Thomas has been doing this, and I asked him what his demographics were. From the folks showing up and they're all young. Well, they're young and old, but there's a lot of eager
young
people.
At heart, like Greg.
Yeah, young at getting older at heart, but they're just eager to learn.
Yeah.
You could tell. I've met plenty of people. I'm sure you have too. Met plenty of people that are just like, well, like Guillermo. Guillermo was a friend of ours who was working.
He's not dead. Yeah. I'm shout out to you, bro. I know you're alive still.
Are you? Well, I haven't heard from him in a few days. So, but Guillermo. A lot of eager people out there just need a mentor, and it's perfectly understandable.
Well, and I look at this kind of stuff two different ways, right? And we're going to move into the next topic here. But what I want to say about the whole coaching, mentorship, going to these events, it's not just the mentorship or the coaching, right? Let's say that you're trying to figure out getting into real estate or real estate investing, or you've bought a few smaller properties, you want to figure out how to grow. Coming to an event like this and getting around people that are doing it at a bigger level, of course, you're going to learn some things. And if you decide ultimately to take the next step and go into that mentor-mentee program, that, you know, hey, that's even better. But I will say from my own experience, every time that I or we or our group has gone to one of these events, right? Rod Khleif's event in Denver, we spent time with Robert Martinez in Houston. I mean, we've done a handful of these things. And every time that we do it, actually, we find ourselves in a position where we leave that event and we've met other people at the event that were also there to learn about real estate. And now those people we start doing business with. I mean, perfect example, right? We went to Denver to Rod Khleif's event to do some 3-day training there and kind of check some things out. And while we were there, we met two guys, Jeff and Jawan, who are now one of our co-GP partners. They've helped us raise millions of dollars. They've joined us on a bunch of deals.
Great guys.
Jawan's been on the podcast. And so that wouldn't have happened if we didn't get our ass out of our seat here in LA and get on a plane and go to an event. So I think sometimes you got to just put yourself in the right room, bring your guard down, and you might be surprised at what you find. You know?
You got to bring your guard down and you got to experience, because, you know, we went to Robert Martinez. Now that was a more intimate, you know, conference. It was just the small
shout out to Robert, the Rockstar Capital. There we go. The Rockstar Capital man.
We met some good people there, you know, the staff, great people. I mean, Robert's got an amazing staff, and, you know,
amazing team.
It comes from him, but they all buy into it, and it's great. But, you know, we learned a few things about ourselves and our business. And, you know, it seems like there's always a benefit when you get out and meet people, you know.
Listen, you can't do it in your basement, guys. You got to get out there. We all love the internet. It's nice to hop on Zooms, but get your ass out there and meet some people in person, okay? So, and come to our event in January. We're going to be dropping some information. You will not want to miss it, because it's going to be an amazing effing event. So, okay, let's put Clooney in the hot seat for a minute. I want to see him answer a couple of these real estate myth questions.
Clooney is a little
he's bitching about his voice, but we don't care. We're going to put him in the hot seat. All right, so we're going to go on just a couple of random things. We pulled off ChatGPT, some questions relating to myths in real estate and multifamily. First one, myth: you need millions to start investing in apartments.
Well, Brandon, that is a myth, because it's not true. You don't need millions. You need.
What if someone wants to go buy a large apartment complex and it's $2 million or $5 million? How do they do it?
Well, listen, if you're going after something, obviously you must have done the numbers already. It's got to be worth going after. The numbers have to matter. Like every deal we've purchased, they cash flow right out of the gate. But once you have the right property, if you have the right property, money will find you. Now, you know, you would have, maybe you start with your friends and family first, but you got to work out the numbers. But money will find a good deal. Money will find itself.
Yeah, I think there's a saying: no good deals go unfunded. Right. Yeah. So you're basically saying,
but to your point, no, you don't. To your question, no, you don't need to have millions. You need to have a good plan. Yeah.
Right. So like with us, we started off with a couple of shitty houses that we then bought a little triplex, and we then bought a little 5-unit. Yeah. So we kind of did that route and then slowly worked ourselves up. And then through the course of doing that, started going to friends and family, like Greg said, started pooling money together. Yeah. And now that's how we get a lot of our big deals done. You know, rather than Greg and I going out and saying, let's buy another $500,000 property this month, we go, let's go buy an $8 million property. Yeah. And let's invite Caden and Greg and Kevin and Joe and Susie and Karina and whoever in, and everybody puts 50 or 100 grand in. Yeah. And now we can take this big mama down, and we have a chance to make a much bigger payoff because of the scale.
Those people know you. Yeah. And if they see the merit in the deal, they're going to probably ride right along with you. Yeah. You know, I mean, what do you think? How much money do you need to bring?
Well, listen, I don't think you need any money to get started in real estate. Now, you could do it a couple of different ways. Again, if somebody's listening to this podcast, they like what we're up to, they want to find out about some of our upcoming real estate syndications, some of the sexy deals that we're buying. Maybe they've got 50 grand laying around, 100 grand laying around. They can get in touch with us, and they could participate as a partner in one of our deals and learn the business that way and see how we buy the big deals and get their feet wet, right? That's one way to start. The other way to start, if you don't have the money or you really just want to do it yourself, you can go out, like Greg said, learn about this business, get educated, come to our event, get educated, and you can find a deal, and you can go to somebody that does have the money, because we all know people that have plenty of money Someone said to me the other day, I don't know anybody. It might have been Guillaume, actually. We're going to call him out a little bit here. I think he might have said, because I said, Guillaume, you got to go bigger, right? He bought this beautiful fourplex. I said, dude, time to go bigger. Yeah, I just don't know if I know a lot of people with money. Dude, you know people with money. We're all walking around not thinking about that until we're thinking about it. But once you realize that the average person probably has a 401k, some money saved up, and a lot of people are just like you. They're looking for a nice place to invest their money. They don't want it just being, sitting there collecting cobwebs in the bank. And so you don't need to know a billionaire. You just need to know a few people that make a decent living that have 50 grand, 75 grand, 25 grand, 100 grand. And believe it or not, you pull a few $100 grand together pretty fast, you can actually buy a deal. And so a lot of ways, one way that a lot of people start is they'll find a really good deal and they'll go to somebody or a couple of somebodies that have the money and they'll say, listen, I found the deal. I've got a plan for it. Here's what we can do to it. I'll do all the work. I'll manage it. I won't take any fees on it. Just let me be the guy doing all the sweat equity. You put in the money and we'll split the thing 50-50, 60-40, come up with something that's fair. But we'll buy it for $400,000. And when we turn it around and sell it for $600,000, I'll take a piece of that $200,000 profit. You take a piece. And that happens every day. People do that scenario. So in that case, you would not need any money to start real estate.
You're right. He knows people that he doesn't even know he knows.
Of course.
And you have
Caden over here might have a whole big bag. Our guy off camera right now running the deal in the background. He might even have, he might be sitting on some cash going, wait a minute, you never know who's got some money.
Caden's probably already in a deal right now.
He probably is. He's going to have to jump in one of ours at some point. Yeah. So,
but you need two things, plan and passion. You got to have a good plan and you better be passionate about it because it'll be like osmosis. People will be affected by that when you have your first deal.
Let's talk about another myth. Multifamily investing is riskier than single family.
Multifamily investing.
Buying apartment buildings is way riskier. You got all these tenants that are going to call you and leaky toilets and all this bullshit. Well, nobody should buy. Yeah, tell me why that's a myth.
Yes and no. It's not, to me, it's not riskier because obviously now I know the business and listen, a multifamily property is an income producing property and the value is derived of that. So, and you can control that too by fixing up the units, increasing the rents closer to market each and every year, or if it's vacant, bringing it to market immediately. You have control over the income. So it's an income producing asset. And it's still an asset. It's a real estate. It's a piece of real property that your money is secured behind. So I think it's less risky. But if somebody is, has a single family property, and if somebody has a single family property and they're renting it, and that tenant leaves, you're out. You're $0 now collecting rent. But if I had a fourplex, a fiveplex, a sixplex, a triplex, one guy leaves, I still got money coming in.
You just answered the question the best way, right? And thank you.
You're welcome.
If you rent out a house and somebody beats the hell out of it or stops paying you, you got to evict them, or they move out and you can't rent it for 4 months, that income on that deal, this camera can see it, $0. So if you have like Greg just said, if you've got a fourplex and you got one bad apple and they move out or they're giving you some issues, you've got 3 other tenants there that are sending you money every month. And so that investment is still presumably, now the devil's in the details, but presumably still cash flowing or at least covering the expenses. It's still making some kind of money. So I think that was my aha when we got into multifamily was like, wow, we could buy a 30-unit complex and we only have to have 20 tenants there to even cover our mortgage.
Yeah.
So every tenant that we have over that, so like if you have 30 tenants in there, even if you get 1 or 2 bad ones, a few move out, you're so far away from your break even. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And so to me, that really is where the risk factor is different.
I mean, it was eye-opening when I realized, oh my God, yes, if we start changing the rents over time, that value of that asset will be reflective of what you're bringing in on the income side. And that's fascinating because you have a little bit of control on that. And, the one asset we have in Benning, the 50 units, I mean, we're going from $1,300 a month in average rents to $2,000 or $1,900. I mean, look at the difference and the income or the value that will bring to that property.
Let's put it in dollar standards for you. We bought this property. It's making $60,000 a month in rent. Now we're fixing it up. We're spending a bunch of money. We're making it nice. And when we're done with it, it's going to be making $100,000, $120,000 every single month hitting our bank account every single month. And we got a mortgage to pay. We got expenses to pay. but it's a lot of leftover
We
money. And all
purchased
that
for
money's
$8
going
million.
and all that money's moving around to us and our investors. It's being distributed every quarter once it's stabilized. So yeah, I mean, that right there is the beauty of multifamily real estate. You literally bought something that makes $60,000 a month, and it's going to be making,
play it out for him, Brandon. I mean, just hypothetical numbers, but not hypothetical. But we bought it for $8 million. When market rents are, we've already. What is that? What is the value?
Well, I mean, again, so the numbers are pretty simple. We bought it for $8 million.
Right.
We're spending about $2 million to renovate it. Yep. So we're going to be all into this thing for $10 million. When we bought it, it was making $60,000 a month in rent. When we're done, it's going to be almost basically doubled. It's going to be $120,000 a month in rent. And so we've doubled the income. We've gotten some expenses optimized, meaning, we had a landscaper that was charging us $2,000 a month. We get a new landscaper that's charging $1,000 a month. Yeah. We had, we were paying too much for our utilities. We find a way to pass some of that to the tenants. So it's all about figuring out how you can get these properties making more money or lowering your expenses. But by the time we're done with it, I mean, it's a $15, $16, $17 million property.
Right.
So we've created, even over that $10 million that we're into it for, we're going to be creating $5, $6, $7 million in profit for us and our investors on one deal. Yeah. And so that's why multifamily makes sense. That's why going big in multifamily makes sense, because you can buy a triplex like we did for $180,000 and then sell it for $330,000. And by the way, that was a great return, but it was still, you're making whatever that difference is. What is that? $150,000 basically. So in these deals, when you're talking about $5, $6, $7, $8 million on the table, it's a lot of money to go back to all the investors, and it really sends the ROI through the roof. So that's why we love the big deals. But yeah, that's what we're doing. I want to ask you another one, Greg. You can't find myth. You can't find a deal in today's market. It's too expensive. All the good deals get eaten up. LA is too expensive. Orange County is too expensive. Wherever you are, can't find a good deal. And the deals I find are too expensive. Why is that a myth?
Because it's not true.
Yeah, we'll break
because
it down.
It's not true.
It's not true.
Well, listen.
Drop the mic. It's not true.
Boom. I mean, we just went into escrow on a great deal up in Sacramento. So it's not true. There are great deals out there.
And what are we in escrow on right now? What are we in escrow on right now? What's the deal?
It's a 29 unit apartment building in downtown Sacramento, across from the Capitol Park. It's in a beautiful location. There's 2 commercial spaces on the bottom, a barbershop and a bar. But
Greg will be spending a lot of time there.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this for a second. Yeah. So the 50 unit that we were just talking about, that was an off-market deal. Right. One of the brokers we knew up in that area that knew us, that had already done some business with us, knew that we could perform, called us before anybody else, got us in touch directly with the seller. We met him face to face. We toured the building. Yep. He saw that we were serious.
We did all our inspections.
We went into escrow. We paid him $8 million for his building. Done deal. Yeah. This new deal that we're buying, it was an on-market deal. It had been on the market for a couple of months. So the first thing I want to unpack there as part of this myth busting is sometimes people think in this business that you have to find off-market deals. Right. That's not true. Right. When you find an off-market deal and you have a reasonable seller, that could be a beautiful thing. And actually, it's great when that happens. But those are harder to find. They don't come as often. A lot of times, there's fantastic deals that hit the market, and even fantastic deals that hit the market that don't initially sell. And I like to call it hiding in plain sight. And so I'll give you an example. This deal that we're buying now came on the market at $4 million. I had originally looked at it, and I was like, wow, that's a sexy building. It had a really cool downtown, like Greg said, downtown vibe, historic building. It's like 4 or 5 stories or whatever it is. And it's a really cool looking building. And I was like, man, that's interesting. But we were so busy because we had other stuff going on. I was like, okay, we don't have time to really look at it. And what happened was they didn't sell. And the seller ended up getting into a 1031 exchange. And so what that means is he found something else that he wanted to buy, but he needed to sell this to buy it. And he was trying to defer his taxes. And so opportunistically, he calls the broker, who I know, and calls his broker and says, dude, we got to drop the shit out of this price. I just want to move this thing. I just want to get rid of it, do whatever. So before the price reduction happens, this is where it does pay to spend your time getting to know the brokers and the players in the market that you're working, right? Yep. So before anything happens, the broker calls me and says, hey, Brandon, remember that deal I sent you a couple months ago? I know you liked it. I know you've been busy. This guy's ready to drop the price $700,000 overnight. And I said, wow, okay, that's like 20 something %. I mean, okay, no matter what I thought about it before, if this guy's dropping the price 700 grand and nobody else knows about it, I better take a look at it. So I took a look at it, got really excited about it. And I think we even shaved him down another $100,000 because why not? That's what we do. But we got it under contract for $3,225,000. And now we're off to the races. We're closing next week, and we're going to have a beautiful new, mixed unit, 29 unit apartment building and commercial building that we're buying.
And that one, again, the plan, you do the numbers, and that one was cash flowing. And, Brandon is really good at numbers and did the analysis, but it's cash flowing with our new loan on it from day one.
Yeah, from day one. So it's a different play. That one, there's less work that we have to do because this guy already did the work. But we're going to come in and make some management changes and do a few things. But from day one, it's going to be making great money. But again, can you find a deal in this market? Yes, you can. You need to be plugged in. You need to know how to look at deals. You need to be getting those phone calls. And if you're not getting the phone calls yet, you need to start making the phone calls to the brokers, to the people in the marketplace that you want to be in that owns this real estate. So they know to call you when there's something going on, when there's a price reduction, when there's an off-market deal, when there's a new listing coming out. And so, that ultimately was what we did. But yeah, I would say, just to summarize, you can definitely find great deals in any market. And certainly you can find great deals in this market. Yeah. You just have to put in the work, and you got to know your numbers. Yeah. That's so important.
And they always say, you're going to go through, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but you're going to figure it out. And there are,
as far as looking at deals before you find the right one. Oh, of course.
But there are deals out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. Let's see. What else we got, Greg? Here's one. What do people not realize about the day-to-day ownership? Tenant turnover, CapEx, construction. What do people not realize about that when it comes to running an apartment building?
Well, I mean, I'm going to say there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. It's like that iceberg effect. You see the 20% top.
You see one of our pictures in front of our big ass property in the background, and we're like, woo! But we got some motivational quote. You could do this too. But what's behind the scenes?
But really there's a lot of mechanics going on. On the ground. With tenant relationships and payment history and insurance and all kinds of little things. And the only thing I could say to that is after and over time, as you experience it, you just get better and better, and you don't sweat the small stuff. But I can tell you that responding fast to a lot of these things is really the crucial element.
By the way, let's talk about a few of the interesting examples of things that have happened in our apartment buildings. Let's see. We've had a couple residents die, and I'm talking about portfolio wide, right? The last
started right out of the gate with that one.
Last 5 years, right? Like we've owned our apartment buildings. We've had a couple of residents that I can think of die. Not anything crazy like, tenants shooting each other, but, one guy, I don't know, alcoholism, another guy, old age, whatever, right? So we've had a couple of tenants pass away. That's a weird call to get. Hey, Johnny's not going to pay your rent this month. He's not around.
We've had cars,
we've had multiple cars crash into buildings. I don't know what the F it is about, cars running into apartment buildings, but I never knew that was really a thing until we started buying apartment buildings. But we've, one I think was a drunk driver in our neighborhood, just went right into a building. The other one was an older gentleman at one of our tenants that thought he was putting his foot on the brake and put it on the gas and right through the bedroom of somebody else.
Those old people.
But, I mean, it could happen, right? We've had, of course, leaks. We had
plumbing, electrical.
We just had one recently. One of our tenants was that we did not know about. Of course, they were illegally making
allegedly.
Well, this is past allegedly. We fucking found the evidence. So no, this is they're guilty. Okay, so no, but they were cooking hash oil. So I don't know a lot about it. Whatever the fuck hash oil even is, but they have these huge butane tanks and they're making this hash oil. In
concoction,
in the unit. By the way, in the unit, and what happens is, we have security cameras at all of our buildings.
Fascinating video.
And so we get a message from our property manager. There was just an explosion at your building, and so we pulled up the camera.
There it is,
and you literally just see like, like nothing's happening, and then boom. All the glass from the windows out of this apartment building just blow out like a huge explosion. And they come running out, and I guess one of them had some burns and went to the hospital, but blew up the unit. The list goes on. We've had at our 50 unit, we've had a few tenants that were not very happy with the fact that they were going to be asked to leave because that was such a big renovation, and so we're kind of clearing the slate and then remodeling. And bottom line is, one or two of them decided that they would sue the landlord. So Greg and I opened up our mailbox one day, and we had a lawsuit for like $900,000, which is total bullshit. But they just kind of like picked some big ass number. So I guess it's to say, like, when you're a landlord, you're going to see all kinds of wacky bullshit. Yeah. And again, you can't let it bother you. You just got to work through each little problem the way it is. But it's really interesting because even after just a handful of years, we could like write a book on some of the crazy shit that we've seen at our apartment buildings.
It's oh my God.
And by the way, and what I would follow up to that is like, look, if you want to get in this game, you got to decide. Do you want to be the active investor? We are the active investors. We buy the buildings, we do all the management, we get the calls about the explosions and the people dying and all the weird shit. We get the lawsuits, and we have to deal with that shit, right? And so when somebody invests with us, they get to put their money to work and own a piece of that apartment building, but they don't have to drive up there when the shit happens. They don't have to be on late night calls Sunday night dealing with weird bullshit. So it really is a nice opportunity for somebody to put money to work into real estate, join our team, and not have to be the ones doing the heavy lifting. Yeah. Now, if you want to do the heavy lifting, then again, come to our 3-day boot camp in January.
There it is.
And we'll talk more about the crazy shit that happens at apartment buildings and how you can get ahead of some of that stuff when it does happen. But yeah, either route is good. I mean, some people want to do option A, some people want to do option B, but that's the cool thing about real estate. You can do it a couple different ways. Yeah,
join our team and you can see how we do it. And I mean, listen, if you've got good people around you, good smart people around, like a nice real estate attorney who knows what's going on, and an insurance broker, a few people to mention, that if you've got good people around you, you're going to get through the bad times or the tough times. And they're not really bad times. There's always issues. You just tend to them.
Yeah, I mean,
and tenant issues, the biggest thing is just to respond quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a great property management team that takes care of all of our properties. And so when we get the call, it's not like a tenant calling us directly. We get the call from our property manager saying, hey, this happened, but I'm already on the ground. Here's what I'm going to do about it. Are you okay with my plan? Yeah. And so if you have good people out there that can take care of it, that definitely helps as well.
It does.
So, okay, we are going to have to drop very soon. Because speaking of that, I got to hop on an accounting call to talk about numbers in our apartment buildings.
There you go, behind the scenes.
I am going to have to run here in a second. But thank you everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, even leave a mean comment about Greg, not me. And
or a nice one.
If you guys are interested in investing in real estate, I just want to say again, please, drop us a DM, get in touch with us. You can find us here on Instagram. We've got a few different places that we are a few places. Yeah. And we'd love to talk to you about some upcoming opportunities. Again, if you're looking at maybe learning to be an active investor in the space, then come to our event in January. We will drop some more information on that as it gets closer.
Looking forward.
And in the meantime, go out and kick ass, and let's make it a big, finish of 2025 and a big 2026.
Let's go.
Let's go. Cash flow. And that's another episode of the High Stakes Deals. Boom.